I hope you guys had an amazing weekend and an awesome Easter. And I hope that, Lucy, you had an amazing birthday. Miss Amy thought of you all day yesterday. I hope that when you guys were eating your jelly beans and on your Easter egg hunts that you remembered Jesus was the reason why we were celebrating. Remember, before I left on Friday, I told you guys we were going to learn all about gardens this week. Miss Amy and Miss Gwen have been working so hard to put together such a fun week worth of lessons. We are going to learn everything about gardens. We're going to learn about seeds and what grows out of seeds, maybe plants, vegetables, flowers. What else do you think comes out of a seed? I bet you're right. But before we go into all of that fun stuff for the week, we are going to read a story about gardeners. Now, this story is called We Are the Gardeners. Look at this picture. Who do you think are the gardeners in this story? I think it's the kids too. Now, this book is written by a woman named Joanna Gaines and it is illustrated by Juliana Swanee. What is the illustrator's job again? I bet so. She does. She draws the pictures. You're right. We are the gardeners. We are the gardeners. Now that's a pretty official title, but we didn't start out this way. Just like our garden, we started out small and we grew from there. Some say that a garden just grows from seeds, but we think it grows from trying and failing and trying again. A garden is hard work, but so is most of the good and important stuff in our lives. That's right. We can do hard things, right, dear class? Our family's garden story began with one small potted fern. Dad stumbled upon it at the hardware store when he ran in for some supplies. He said it was just too cute to leave behind, and he thought it would make Mom smile, and it did. Okay, guys, there's the fern on the shelf, and there's their dad. He's buying it for their mom. How cool. It is really cute. We chose a sunny windowsill for that pretty little fern, and it seemed like a good, safe spot for him to grow. This was back when we were little kids, but we still remember visiting that plant each day to give him a drink, and sometimes we'd even whisper to him a little bit. And then, plot twist. Out of nowhere, our fern died. Oh no, death by overhydration. That's just a fancy way of saying we gave him way too much water. Looking back, each one of us must have watered him every day. Now that's a lot of drinks for a little plant. By mistake, we loved that plant to death. Oh no. Some people tell themselves they are no good at something after one small failure, but no chance we were going to give up that easily. So we checked out some books from the library and we found out that ferns are tricky and they prefer to live in a shady spot. They had it in a sunny spot, didn't they? Apparently, a plant's leaves can communicate to us what they're needing. We also learned that most plants have good manners and they like to sip instead of gulp. Lesson learned. So they had the plant in the wrong place, didn't they? And they gave him too much water. That's why the fern didn't make it. Dad got us a fresh fern, and with it came fresh hope. This time we set the pot on our piano on the way other side of the room where the sun wouldn't give him so much attention. We made a watering schedule, and we took turns saying a lot of nice things to our little sprout of a plant. And fern number 2 lived and he thrived and he grew. Finally, Mom got him a little potted friend, and then another, and then 1 or 2 more. And we noticed that talking to our plants actually helped them grow bigger and stronger. So we added some songs and jokes into the mix. Unlike when we overwatered, 0 plants died from us talking too much. So pretty soon, plants were taking over the house. And Dad said it was time to graduate to outdoor gardening. Now, graduate means it was time to move on to outdoor gardening. Look at all those ferns and plants. Oh my goodness, look how many plants they have. What a fun house. Mom was as excited about the new outdoor garden as we were, and she started talking about it with a dreamy look in her eyes. That's when Dad called a family meeting so we could come up with a real plan. So there's their mama thinking about all the things she would like to garden. What would you plant in your garden? That would be fun. We all gathered around the kitchen table and got out working on our dreams and our plans, and we drew things out. We knew we needed a sunny spot, a place where plants could sunbathe for at least 6 hours a day. We'd be red as radishes if we did that, wouldn't we, class? But plants just love it, and more than that, they need it. In a garden, there is no life without light. So check out their plan. They're gonna have chickens here. Cool. Then they've got a shed, and there's water, and then there's all kinds of vegetables they're gonna plant and flowers. Dad always said the foundation is the most important thing when it comes to building a house. A house can't be strong if it's built on something weak, and the same holds true in the garden. So to make the foundation of our garden strong, we filled it with something called soil. It was good soil, which included a bunch of tiny living things called organisms, things that grow. That's pretty amazing when you stop and think about it. A whole hidden world of life is happening just beneath our feet. Just because you can't see good things with your eyes doesn't mean they're not there. There's a connection. There's someone we can't see, but we know he's there. And another cool thing about the soil is that it feeds and strengthens the seeds we sow. And then, like a miracle, flowers and plants, they burst from the ground. So check out their stuff. They planted these things in a really cool soil, and look at all the things they're growing. I see potatoes and radishes, and it looks like carrots and onions, maybe some beets. We also knew we needed our garden to get plenty of water. Rain is the best thing for plants to drink, but you know what? It's hard to know if rain is coming. That's true. So a couple other options to keep plants hydrated, which means lots of water, is to collect rainwater or use a sprinkler or garden hose to get the job done. So look, there is their mom. She's watering, and then another little girl. And then the other two are playing in the sprinklers. Look, can you see that, dear class? Fun. I like to play in the sprinklers. That looks like fun. Once we had our location with plenty of sun and good soil and watering plans, we got right to work. First things first, seeds. The most fun part of planning out our garden was deciding what to plant. We started with foods that we like to eat, like strawberries and tomatoes, and then we chose some pretty flowers to keep them company. The thing about seeds is they are everyday miracles. Everything a plant will grow up to be is already hidden inside the seed. We chose flowers like zinnias and sunflowers and cosmos so that the pollinators would visit our garden. Pollinators are butterflies and hummingbirds and bees. They spread pollen around from flower to flower, encouraging even more things to bloom. We like knowing that little helpers are out there in nature working with us to help our garden grow. Bees must have put the word out because we had a pretty good thing going on, because sure enough, all sorts of other critters started to arrive. We quickly found out that there were 3 types of bugs in our backyard: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the worst part. It was a pretty sad day when the aphids arrived. They are some of the more well-known villains in the gardening world. They suck the life right out of plants. But then the ladybugs showed up to eat those pesky aphids for lunch. Ladybugs are for sure part of the hero camp, bravely protecting our plant friends from harm. And we've got to tell you about the earthworms. They are like secret agents of the garden. Earthworms eat all of the dead things, like old roots and leaves, and then they turn them into life for the soil. So cool. Every time we found one, we would all high-five and celebrate. They aren't pretty, but who cares? Because they are awesome. And we love seeing them hard at work. We realized pretty quickly that we needed to keep the weeds out. They're our true bullies of the garden. Weeds try to steal the water, sunlight, and nutrients from our fruits and veggies, and it's our job to make sure those little rascals don't take over. If we ignored the garden too long, the weeds would run wild and hurt our beloved plants. It's so much easier to just do a little bit every day. Look at those kids pulling out those weeds. Good job, kids. We were officially gardeners and had real life garden to prove it. That garden became our pride and joy. Day in, day out, we tended to our plants, making sure they got plenty of sun and water. Every time a new plant sprouted up from the ground, our excitement grew right along with it. Check it out, guys. Look at their garden. So cool. As time passed, our garden grew bigger, and so did our family. When our garden was finally in full bloom and growing tall, we'd run through the aisles and watch the butterflies flutter around us. But one day, as we were in mid-skip, we noticed some trespassers. Oh, they were helping themselves to lunch. And by lunch, we mean half of the garden. Animals may look cute and innocent, but some have a sneaky side. They can wipe out a garden in no time flat. The chickens ate the vegetables, the goats ate Mom's roses, and the bunnies weren't picky at all. They ate anything in sight. Saying goodbye to that many happy plants was even harder than throwing away our first dead fern. We debated if we should give up. Was it really worth it to start all over again? Then we remembered one very important detail. We are the gardeners. It was our responsibility to not only grow this garden, but to also protect it. So we put up a little fence to keep the animals out and got to work rebuilding. You guys see? Oh my goodness, those crazy little animals, sillies. It didn't take long to get our plants and flowers growing tall again. And to this day, our very favorite days are when we get to gather the fruits of our labor. Mom loves to set the table with pretty flowers in every color you can imagine. We help her dream up recipes for food, the food that we've grown, and sometimes we all see the beauty laid out. We can't believe our hands helped bring it to life, and it makes all the hard work worth it. It's what keeps us coming back day after day, season after season. Look at this, you guys. They're having lunch in their garden. So exciting. We still keep the little fern on the piano to remind us of our small beginnings. Every time we water it, we are reminded not to give up when things don't work out the first time. Because the thing is, whether one potted fern dies or half the garden is wiped out by little critters, every failure or setback teaches us something. Dad says, every hard thing we choose to do makes us braver for next time. There are so many lessons waiting to be learned and a whole world of gardening ready to bloom. We are the gardeners, and you can be too. Oh, I love that story. I'm so glad those kids didn't give up and they kept going and learning and helping their garden and protect it. What a fun story. I'll see you guys later. Have a good day.